let's get into the Tottenham update. And actually, the first one is regarding FFP, because The Athletic did an article today regarding financial strength regarding PSR and where Spurs are at right now. And we're currently 4th strongest at the PSR rankings, which, you know, I don't think it's a secret to anyone how healthy the club's financial position is in that sense. But it's saying 277 million for Spurs.
Yeah, that's just the wiggle room that we have. Doesn't mean we have that much to spend.
No, but it means we can spend it.
We can spend that if we want, exactly. Just easy, just want to make that clear. But yeah, we know we're a very well-run club financially. So it shouldn't be too much of a surprise that, especially all the money that we make outside of the football and stuff like that, and the match day revenue increasing massively. Now we've got Champions League football as well. I don't think that's included in that, the Champions League football even, but yeah, I think it's not. Yes, we're in a great position from FFP point of view, but whether we're going to actually take advantage of that,
I think you know the answer.
It's another question.
I think you know the answer to that. But you're looking at this graph, right? It don't make good reading for Burnley whatsoever. They're on -20, and Aston Villa as well, the lowest of maybe what you saw the so-called bigger clubs in the Premier League. They only got 15 million wiggle room.
But is that Burnley's FFP before they get the Premier League money?
I have no idea. I would
assume so.
It says projected maximum pre-tax loss allowable under Premier League PSR rules. It doesn't say. What's the fine print saying here?
Well, it says 24-25.
So it's the last 3 years. I mean, when does it renew? Doesn't it renew like halfway through the season?
Well, I think I think it's like the second half of the season, like April. So I can't even remember. That's what I'm saying.
So these figures will be for this transfer window.
Oh yeah, it'll be this transfer window, but they're not going to get fined, Burnley. But no, they're not in a good position. But I'm saying once that Premier League money comes in, that it will look a lot healthier.
Yeah. How much is the Premier League money?
Big.
Yeah.
Hundreds. Well, like 100 million or something, 50 million. Yeah, it's big. Yeah. Tens of millions at least.
Yeah. Well, look, this is the situation. It's not exactly a surprise of where Spurs are at. I think when I look at this, I get more frustrated than anything because you see like what a good position we're in, what we could be in, and we just don't ever get the business done.
What's interesting, I was reading Matt Lord's article. At the end of the article, let me see if I can get it up. He says something quite interesting. He says ENIC did invest 35 million into the club in January, but Levy made it clear that Tottenham will not spend money they do not have, with the club's net transfer debt standing at £279 million, even with Champions League qualification and 200 million worth of profit and sustainability rules headroom, which is that to 277. That would put Spurs in a position of needing to sell to buy this summer without investment from ENIC or elsewhere.
We're always in a position to sell.
But I don't know if I believe this.
We're always in a bloody position to sell to buy.
I don't know if not that I don't. I'm not saying these figures are wrong, but that 279 million pounds worth of debt, I don't think has to be paid this summer. I doubt. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think that 279 million.
You're talking about the transfer debt?
Yeah.
No, that's
aggregate.
It's installments.
Exactly.
Seasons, yeah.
So I don't understand why, just because we've got 279 million worth of debt, transfer debt, that means we still have to sell to. That means we have to sell to buy one. Only a certain portion of that's going to be paid off this summer. So it's not all going off this summer. So the fact that we have to need to sell to buy, even when we've got Champions League money coming in, and we've got a lot of headroom, I don't think the transfer debt wipes all that out, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think we need some sort of financial expert or someone that's looked at the figures and tax year and all that kind of stuff.
We can get Sean on, but he might not want to hear what he has to say.
Definitely don't. Sean said Levy out yesterday, so maybe I do want to hear what he has to say. But
for me, yeah, I don't believe we have to sell to buy. I don't believe that, even though they're saying it.
But what Matt Law said as well in the article, he said sources believe that a shake-up throughout the club, which is expected to be far-reaching, could prelude to fresh funds being pumped into the club by ENIC, who are keen to remain control of Tottenham, or in the form of outside investment.
A lot of rumours.
So I mean, if that is true, then it could, provide us with a healthy summer and a summer where we don't have to sell to buy.
I mean, on the contrary, if we did that, you would think that would be so we get ready to spend quite a bit of money.
That's what I said, yeah.
No, I'm saying that's not sell to buy. I mean,
so we don't have to sell to buy is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but even more than that, like, so we have like a really big pot.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, like 300 million
Yeah.
or something like that. That's what a figure's been banded about. That and look, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. To be honest, how often do we hear those rumors?
Probably every year.
Yeah, and a lot of the time they come to nothing.
Yeah,
pretty much always. And even, Matt Law was saying in his article, the only time they've invested was in that 2022 period, where they said they're investing 150 million, and we've only seen 97 of it.
Yeah.
So where's the other 50 million? So even if they say they're going to invest a certain amount, they don't even keep to their word.
Very, very true. And this is why change is needed at the top, people, which I've been banging on about for so long. But that is the FFP situation. Let's go into particular transfers. And we're going to start off talking about Xavi Simons again, because Give Me Sport, a great publication, say that Tottenham will seriously compete to sign Xavi Simons this summer, having already made contact with him in January. The club view him as a key to their continued rebuild. RB Leipzig won £65 million for the attacking fielder. I mean, £65 million for someone of Xavi Simons' quality, I think is, bang on the money, man. I would do that in a second if we could.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer for me. The guy is unbelievable ability. He's been brilliant on the world stage for Holland at the Euros in the last tournament. He was fantastic. I think he's developed unbelievably well at Leipzig. I think maybe last season wasn't his best season, but ever since he's gone there and gone on loan to Leipzig in the Champions League, he's been fantastic whenever I've seen him. Such a versatile attacker, kind of attacker we don't really have a profile of in our squad as well. Someone who's got the ability to play across the front line and just influence the game in so many different ways. I don't think he's going to come to us. I don't think he's in our ballpark, but I'd love him. And if we can somehow convince him to come, maybe get you some of that Ange pool, maybe we've got a chance. But I think it's kind of a pipe dream.
I think you're looking at Xavi Simons. He wants to leave Leipzig to play Champions League football. That's where he's at. There are rumours within the Leipzig fan base that he's got a bit of an attitude problem, a bit of a Billy Big Bollocks feel to him. He's had such an amazing football education coming through La Masia with Barcelona, going to play at PSG as well, now at RB Leipzig. I'm looking at maybe Champions League, like top Champions League teams right now that have the money to spend on a player like Xavi Simons. I just can't see like someone like Arsenal putting out. Liverpool just signed Florian Wirtz. Are they going to go for him? Man City just signed Reinders and on the cusp of signing Ryan Cherky. Are they going to go for him? So if it is a Premier League team, like who else are going to go for him?
Yeah, maybe we could put our hat in the ring. Maybe we've got a good chance. It's true, but maybe he'll just stay at Leipzig. You know what I mean? Unless he's desperate to move.
That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that he really wants to get out this
Yeah,
summer.
to be fair, they're not in Champions, as you said, they're not in Champions League, are they?
They're not in any European competition.
Yeah, they're not in any. So maybe he's thinking this is an opportunity to leave. Yeah, maybe we do have a better chance than I'm giving credit for, but still, it just seems to me that it'd be a bit of a pipe dream. But I'd absolutely love him. I'd absolutely love him.
Yeah. I mean, it just have a feel about it that Leipzig are just getting absolutely raided this summer, doesn't it? Sesko going, him going.
What happened to what's his name? Who's Sesko's partner? The Openda.
Openda. He's still there,
there's been no talk about him leaving.
We were heavily linked with him not long ago.
Yeah, he was heavily linked with a lot of clubs, and all of a sudden it's gone very quiet about Openda. But I wonder if he's going to be on the move as well.
I think there is a serious opportunity there with Leipzig because a year without European football, I mean, there's also the case that players are going to stay loyal and fight for Leipzig and get them back into the European competition next year, which is obviously very likely, but there will be a few players there that get itchy feet for sure.
Yeah.
Next up, we're going to talk about Angel Gomez. We brought you the report a couple of days ago that Spurs are very confident to get the deal done for Angel Gomez on a free transfer this summer from Lille. The Bleacher Report is saying that Marseille believe that they are set to win the race for England midfielder Angel Gomez. The news will be a blow to Tottenham Hotspur, who had hoped to secure his signature. Now, if these reports are believed to be true, and he has chosen Marseille over Tottenham, now we're 5th day into the transfer window now. Mark Guehi has reportedly come out and said no to Tottenham. Brian Mbeumo has reportedly chosen Manchester United over Tottenham. Johnny Cardozo has come out, and as of today, it's been revealed that he's joining Atletico Madrid, so he's rejected Tottenham. And Angel Gomez will be the 4th player in 5 days to reject Tottenham in this transfer window.
Mm-hmm. And it's not a surprise. The only thing that is a surprise is that we're actively trying to sign players while we don't even know who the manager is, which I guess from that point of view is kind of, you're not going anywhere. You're not going to get anywhere trying to convince players that they should invest their future into you when you don't even know what the future looks like for yourself.
Leroy Sané as well. That's 5 in 5 days.
Leroy Sané.
That's 5 in 5 days.
Yeah. So I know there's a lot of reports. Look, we don't really know how much of it is true. We don't even know if we wanted any of these players. Obviously, Johnny Cardozo we do know, but because we had kind of clauses. But the other ones, it's all kind of hearsay. But obviously, if there is truth to them, then it doesn't surprise me that they're looking at Tottenham. We're in limbo with our manager. We don't know where we're going. Even if we weren't, we still did finish 17th, so there is some convincing there to be done. But obviously, we are in the Champions League next season, so that we should be able to sell them a project. But at the moment, they're looking at us thinking, you don't even know what you're doing. Like, you got no idea where you're heading. You're kind of you're a bit of a mess at the moment. So why would I agree to sign any length of contract and commit my future to you, believing that this is the right club, when I don't even know what the future looks like. You don't even know what the next few weeks looks like, let alone the next season.
You don't even know what tomorrow looks like.
So this is obviously consequences of the lack of decision making from the hierarchy and the situation we've left ourselves in. And this is what we're seeing at the moment if players are rejecting us. But again, look, in terms of Angel Gomez, good player. I like him. I'm not really bothered about losing out on him, but it just tells a story, if it's the truth, that he's rejected us for Marseille.
It's just such a complete unknown at Tottenham Hotspur, and it's just every day I wake up and I'm like, today's got to be the day. Today's got to be the day when we get some sort of clarification on the future of this football club. And alas, doesn't look like today is the day. Another player that we've been linked with is Inter Milan's Jan Bisseck. Inter Live and Inter Publication say that Tottenham are prepared to meet Inter's valuation of 40 million euros for Jan Bisseck. Manchester United and West Ham both interested in the defender. He's had a solid season this year, Jan Bisseck. I think he hasn't been kind of like starting every single game, but he's had, a strong amount of minutes this season.
27 games in the Serie A. Did start 13 games, I think, including the final in the Champions League.
Yeah. Didn't go too well for him.
No, it didn't go too well. But I've been pretty impressed whenever I've seen him. I think he's a very good defender, and he's really strong, physical. The only thing is I would say about him is I'm guessing we would be signing him to replace Romero, and what he doesn't have that Romero definitely does have is that ability on the ball to pick out passes. I don't think he's kind of the best in that kind of facet of his game, but I think obviously he's still fairly young. He's at 24. I don't think it's something he's going to massively add to his game, but I've been really impressed. I think it's been really good season for him at Inter Milan, and I think it would be a good signing. But I kind of think you'd want to potentially partner him with Romero potentially. But yeah, I don't know.
He's a player that plays predominantly on the right-hand side of the defense.
That's true. But if it was him and Van de Ven, I don't think you kind of lose that ball-playing ability out of the back, I think, in my opinion. So, but I like him. I think we should sign him. I definitely think we should sign him. I
think he's still very much a work in progress, though, Jan Bisseck. He's not established like Romero is.
I mean, he's 24. He's not a youngster.
Yeah, but this is his proper breakout year.
Yeah, and he's been great. He's been great. I think if you're able to get someone like him in, you take it. But
is he getting called up to the German squad these days, Jan Bisseck?
I'm not sure if he was in there.
I don't think he's played last night.
Let's see. Don't know how many caps for Germany he's had.
I don't envisage it to be too many.
He's had one cap.
Yeah, I think he's been one that's developed a bit later in his career.
Yeah. I think he's definitely a very interesting one. Whether we know Cherby's not lasting long at Inter, so whether they're going to want to lose another centre back on top of that potentially, whether they're willing to sell. But look, Inzaghi's left. Maybe some of these players will think now's the time to leave. Maybe it's a summer of change for Inter.
Yeah. I think so. And it looks like they're in deep trouble as well with some sort of financial issues as well.
Yeah, some legal issues.
Yeah. And the next player we're going to talk about is Peyton Miller, as Seth Mann, who's a New England Revolution journalist, says that Tottenham have held talks with New England Revs over signing 17-year-old left-back Peyton Miller. Since making his debut, Miller has appeared in 21 games, has notched up 1 goal, 3 assists in 1,500 minutes in the MLS this season. This just stinks of a DeAndre Yedlin, to be honest.
Look, he's 17. I don't know much about 17-year-old left-backs from English Revs, but...
You're supposed to know everything about football.
Yeah, well, there's only a certain limit to my knowledge. I don't watch... the academies or whatever, the first team. Look, I don't know anything about him. You could say it's another Yedlin. I think it's pretty lazy analysis, but I don't know how good this guy is or how bad he is. I don't know.
But I mean, Yedlin obviously was very good at that age. You know, he was brilliant in the MLS.
Mm-hmm.
He came over to England, didn't really hit it at Tottenham, but he didn't do badly at other clubs in England. We just never really gave him a chance. That was the reality.
He went to Newcastle, wasn't great there either.
Yeah, that's true.
Sunderland, was it Sunderland as well for a bit?
I think so.
Anyway, look, for me, each player is different. I don't want to just paint him with the Yedlin brush, put it that way. Just because Yedlin wasn't great for us or whatever, doesn't mean this guy should be dismissed. But I don't know him. At least 17. You know, how good is he going to be at 20? Who knows?
Yeah, we loaned to Sunderland, then he went to Newcastle, Galatasaray, into Miami and Cincinnati. You know, a funny fact about DeAndre Yedlin, when he was at Miami, he was actually captain of that team when Messi joined. So he actually captained Messi for a couple of games.
Messi.
How mad is that?
Messi was getting ordered around by Yedlin.
Yeah, literally. How mad is that?
Love that.
Let's talk about Noni Madueke, as the Footy Insiders say that Tottenham are leading the race to sign England international this summer. However, they could face competition from Newcastle. Newcastle did try and sign him, I think it was last summer or January, I can't remember which one, but they were in for him at a certain stage. It's an interesting one, Madueke, because Chelsea are clearly going for wingers this summer. I think they're heavily linked with Gittins for like 30, 40 million, which I think is an absolute steal for someone of that quality, which shows you there are a lot of opportunities in this transfer market. However, Madueke, you know, falling down the pecking order at Chelsea, if he does come in. I like Madueke, obviously a former Tottenham boy as well, never actually had an appearance for us, but I don't know, he's just way too inconsistent for me.
The funny thing is, he started the season unbelievably, didn't he?
We got that hat-trick.
Got that hat-trick against Wolves, was playing really well, and he's talking, I think he got an England cap as well.
Yeah.
So he was playing really well, and then he hasn't really been able to nail down a spot consistently. I think he's seen a lot of minutes, and I don't think he would say he's had a bad season. You got to remember as well, he's coming to Chelsea. When did he come to Chelsea? This is what, his second season or third season at Chelsea?
It's his third, isn't it?
Third season that he just had. Because he signed in January of one of the seasons, didn't he? When he first came.
Yeah, so he signed in 22-23 in the January, played 12 games, 1 goal. Last season, 23-24, 23 games, 5 goals, and then last season, 32 games, 7 goals.
Yeah, and he was coming from the Eredivisie. He's still fairly young. I think, did he sign at like 19 or something? Or is he still...
Yeah, he's 23 now, so he signed at 20.
Okay, signed at 20. I like him. I think he's very different to Brennan. He offers something very different to Brennan. I think he obviously can play in the Prem, and he's a
Prem player. Yeah.
He's definitely a Prem player. Is he a game changer? No, but not right now. But I think he's got unbelievable scope, in my opinion. And I think right now he's showing he can play in the Prem. I wouldn't dismiss it out of hand. I think he's fairly inconsistent at the moment, but maybe at Tottenham, maybe a different environment, he can show his best stuff. I think I like what he offers. I think he wouldn't be my first choice, but definitely it wouldn't be one where I would say no, definitely not.
You know what it is with Madueke? I'd be much more inclined to get him if he counted as club trained, but I believe he doesn't count as club trained, does he?
Well, he left I think too young.
Yeah. So you're looking at going into a season next year. Let's say our winger signings are Tel and Madueke. Again, is that good enough for next season for what we want to do, a Champions League team? Like Madueke and Brendan Johnson on the right-hand side. Odebear can flirt between the two. And then on the left-hand side, you have Son and Tel.
Someone said price too high. Did it say a price there?
No.
Well, they signed him for about 40, didn't they? So you'd probably at least want their money back, I'm guessing.
They signed him for 33 million euros, 28.5 million pounds.
Okay, so maybe 40 might be enough to get him. It's not bad. I mean, we paid 10 million more for Brennan, so 40. Look, this is obviously me pulling.
He signed on a
prices out of nowhere.
7.5-year contract 3 years ago.
Yeah, I like him, and I think if there's an opportunity, I would look into it. But obviously, look, I still want people like Eze. I still want someone maybe a bit more proven to be consistent. But I think he's one who could be really good for us. I really do.
Really? I just signing like these teams cast-offs just doesn't sit right with me when we're trying to compete with these teams and we're trying to overtake these teams. They're going to sell Madueke and get someone better in, and then we're just going to be left with You know what I mean? Just
unless they make a mistake.
Yeah, but is it a mistake?
Could be.
Is it a mistake selling Madueke to get in Gittins? Like, if I asked you right now, Madueke or Gittins...
No, I'm taking Gittins,
exactly.
but we can't get... Are we going to get Gittins?
No, but I get that. But what I'm saying is that we're signing a player and they're signing a better player. So they're going to be better than
we
us.
have to understand where we are in the food chain.
Yeah.
Madueke is not someone we can dismiss. Because who else is there? In terms of who's definitely better than him, who's gettable, who we can definitely sign.
For the right wing...
And Buemo's obviously not coming.
Yeah, and Buemo's not coming. Sane's
Bakayoko,
not coming.
maybe is he definitely back? Is he
Bakayoko.
definitely better than Madueke?
Well, the only thing that Madueke has over him is Prem experience. That's what he has over him. I mean, I think didn't Bakayoko do better than Madueke in the Eredivisie? I don't know, but I think he did.
Someone said Nico Williams. This is a pipe dream. We ain't getting him. Like someone like Madueke, who's could potentially grow into someone very good for us, is someone we have to look at. I just think I think that's where we are. Like I don't see where this market is of someone who's definitely better than Madueke, who we can definitely get. It's just very hard to find.
There must be someone, man.
Akaleche, yeah, I like the look of him.
Akalush,
or whatever how you pronounce it.
Akalush, yeah, looks brilliant. He does look brilliant, but again, like him, it's only like really one season.
Minter, but again, Minter is going to be a lot more than Madueke, I guess. But is he definitely better? I like Minter.
People saying Jarrod Bowen. We're never going to get Jarrod Bowen.
We're not getting Bowen.
If we're going to get anyone from West Ham, it will be
Kudus. Apparently, they want Kudus. Chelsea. They made a bid for him.
Oh, have they? He's got a release clause first 10 days of July, 85 million euros.
Yeah. No, obviously Eze. People are saying Eze. I would love Eze.
Eze's not a right winger.
But he's not a right winger.
We're talking about right wingers.
Semenyo. Okay. You're talking my language. I like Semenyo.
Semenyo's clear of Madueke, in my opinion.
I think right now, yeah. But I think their level actually, in terms of their ability, isn't too dissimilar.
Yeah, but we need right now. That's what we need. We need right now. We've got enough players on our books that are going to be unbelievable in 2-3 years' time.
He could be unbelievable next season.
He could be.
Madueke.
He could be.
Conceição from Juve, we ain't getting him.
Leon Bailey, no. Anyway.
This is the pool we're in. I don't think Madueke is like a terrible option.
He's not a terrible option, but he's just not an option that's going to like proper excite you, is he?
I thought I'd be excited by it. I'd be excited about Madueke coming.
I would not. I would not be excited. I think he could do a job for us, but it's just another average signing, in my opinion, if we were to get him. Let's finish off on Ange Postecoglou. Sky Sports said yesterday that whether Ange Postecoglou will continue as Tottenham manager or sacked is expected to be decided this week. Well, we are on Thursday now, so tick-tock, Tottenham.
So it's basically tomorrow.
Matt Law did an article today, and he says Ange Postecoglou has now returned to England from holiday, and the expectation is that the Australian will soon be provided with clarity over his future. Tottenham will face a compensation bill in the region of £4 million if they would sack Ange Postecoglou, and that would be on top of the £2 million bonus Postecoglou earned by winning the Europa League. This is the one I mentioned before, saying sources believe the shake-up throughout the club, which is expected to be far-reaching, could prelude to fresh funds being pumped into the club by ENIC, who are keen to remain in control of Tottenham, or in a form of outside investment. Donna Cullen and Ryan Mason's exits are expected to be the start of many changes at Tottenham. Postecoglou, Scott Munn and Matthew Collicott are amongst those who could be dismissed. So Collicott's role has already changed. I don't know what role he's in now, but he has been removed off the company's house for the board. So there were rumors that when that did happen, that he was going to move into some other role, but we don't know just yet.
Just in terms of talking about Ange, hope he enjoyed his holiday. He well deserved. He's taken a hell of a lot of stick and criticism and media pressure and fan pressure this season, and I'm hoping he's had his time to unwind and relax. But obviously he's coming back. He's back from holiday now. Levy's gonna obviously hasn't told him either. When we heard Ali Gold today on his podcast say he's heard from sources inside the club that the staff and Ange, no one is any the wiser whether they even have a job going forward to next season. So it seems as though Levy has waited until after his holiday to basically either make the decision or let Ange know of the decision, and we should know now in due course. Now he's back from holiday.
Well, you know what? I've got some good news for you, Sim.
What?
I've got some good news for you. Where is this comment? Where is it? Anyway, someone put a comment in saying he believes that Ali Gold is going on holiday tomorrow for 3 to 4 days. So that means an announcement is coming very soon.
We're signing Vinny Jr. Must mean something big's going to happen.
Whenever he goes away, something drops at
something massive. Well, that's big news. That's bigger news than anything. Ali Gold's about to go
Forget
on holiday.
Ange coming back from holiday. Ali Gold is going on holiday.
But do we think the fact that, let's say that they have made a decision and they're waiting for Ange to come back from holiday to tell him?
Yeah.
Do we think the fact do we think that they would have told him he's staying on holiday if that was the decision? Or do you think either way they probably would have waited till after he comes back?
I don't see why they wouldn't have just said, while he's on holiday, you're staying. I think the only reason to speak to him face to face surely is to relieve him of his duties.
And just do it in an appropriate way. Because after winning Europa League, you can't really just call him up saying, yeah, you're sacked.
Yeah, you're gone, mate.
Yeah, that's disrespectful, I feel, doing it over the phone.
Yeah.
But maybe
you are talking about a board that sacked someone at half time.
That's also true. But maybe either way, they wanted him to just not think about it and just relax. And
do you really think he's not going to be thinking about it with all this kind of talk going around?
Of course he is.
After winning the Europa League, after how from the end of that cup final all the way till the parade, he's pretty much twerking for the job, to carry on in his job. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right.
There's no chance he's not thinking about it.
But is there any world you think they have kept him to stay, but they wanted to tell him that face to face?
The only way I can see Ange staying in a job now is if they can't get the targets that they're going for. Because it's clear that they've been speaking to other people. Thomas Frank, obviously, they've been speaking to. That's what we're led to believe. So unless Thomas Frank rejects the job, and maybe some other candidates they've been speaking to rejects the job, I see that's the only way that Ange stays in his role.
Or maybe they're not convinced by the candidates.
Maybe.
That's what happened with United. I know they obviously went for Tuchel when he rejected them, but also the other candidates they were looking at, they just weren't convinced by them. So maybe that's also a possibility, that they're looking at Frank and Iraola and these people and maybe they're looking at thinking, I mean, yeah, they're fine, but are they really the guys we want to be given a 3-4 year deal to right now? Are these the guys we want to trust?
Yeah.
When we just got a manager who's won a European trophy. But
clearly they don't trust Ange if they're.
But they don't trust Ange either. But maybe they don't trust the people they're looking at.
So who the hell are they going to trust?
Don't know.
They're not going to trust anyone. May as well put Daniel Levy as manager.
But you can't. I don't know if you're interviewing.
Got to trust someone at some point.
I know, but if you're interviewing for the job, and you're giving your reasons why, you also got to earn that job, don't you? Maybe none of them have done it. Maybe none of them are convinced that they're the guys that Tottenham should be investing in. I don't know. Maybe that's a possibility, but that's also not a good foundation to keep your job.
Yeah, it's just all
But you can't not have you have to have someone in there.
It's all just doing my head in, man. It really is. And I really feel for Ange at this moment in time, because if he does stay, he knows full well that the board have been searching out other managers, just completely disrespectful.
Undermines him
completely. And if he is going to come back knowing that, then what future does he have at this club anyway?
You just have to get results.
Yeah.
It's the only way he stays. Yeah, I agree. But as well, what's going to be interesting is if we do make a change, how do like the fans not react necessarily to the change, but are the fans going to be patient? If let's say the new manager has a season like Amorim, are we going to be calling for his head and saying, not why do we sack Ange, but this guy needs to go, he's the wrong guy? Or are we going to say this guy needs time? Look, maybe he doesn't have his plays, he needs another summer, all these different things. Because that might well be the case if we change manager. They might need, a season or two to.
I think as every manager comes in, unless it's like a high-profile manager with a big name, unless they get results, or even if they get bad results, on them. Yeah, and if they get bad results initially and then turn it around, yeah, fair enough. But I think that the patience within the fan base is going to wear thinner and thinner and thinner as every manager passes.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. But it's also, as you're saying, it's crazy that we're now 11 days since the end of the season, and no one knows what is going on. It's crazy.
This club is an absolute mess. It really is. And they're just sapping the life out of the fans after winning that Europa League trophy. This is supposed to be such a great time for us. And I'm just sitting here stressed.
Everyone is just glued to their phones, looking for the news, waiting for what's happening. And we've just not heard a thing. Look, surely this can't go on for much longer. Surely.
Well, Ali Gold's on holiday tomorrow, so...
It's going to happen tomorrow. It's going to happen tomorrow then. That's confirmed.
Ange came back from holiday today. Levy came back earlier in the week. Ali Gold's on holiday tomorrow. Surely tomorrow is the day.
But it's just mad that there hasn't been... that they have kept a very tight lip on these things. Clearly, they've gotten rid of that mole because we haven't heard if they have made a decision anyway. Maybe they're genuinely still in limbo right now as to what they want.
Maybe the mole's just on summer holiday.
Maybe the mole's on summer holiday. But it's mad that no one's been able to get any source or any apart from these two journalists on Sunday, who apparently either they're ahead of everyone and they actually know, or they've completely jumped the gun.
What's your opinion on this radio silence though? Like, obviously we don't know what's going on behind closed doors. We've heard all the rumors and stuff. Do you believe that there is something going on behind the scenes with disgruntlement in the boardroom wars, all this kind of stuff? Do you believe that's actually happening? Because, like, for me, it's hard not to believe it when it's just there's just nothing coming out of the club. And, like, we've needed a decision on the manager so long ago. Like you say, 11 days. Mm-hmm. And this silence just speaks volumes for me.
Well, Footy Insider have just posted an exclusive. We all know Footy Insider are notoriously unreliable. But they have posted an exclusive, which is quite interesting, saying... Tottenham are edging closer to agreeing a deal to sell a stake in the club that values them at $5 billion.
$5 billion.
Spurs have been in talks with the consortium for over a year, and progress is believed to have been made. Now, we've heard a few things about this in the past few days about potential kind of influx of funds. Matt Law was even saying that the change at the boardroom level could be a prelude to some investment. Now, Football Insider, who, look, I know they're not reliable. I know they're very hit and miss. But they do get some stuff. Ryan Mason to West Brom they've called. They get some things.
But throughout the years, they've had exclusives before that have come to pass.
But yeah, true. But not every exclusive is
not every exclusive, true. Just some exclusives.
Some exclusives. They've got a very. I wouldn't even call it hit and miss. It's more miss, and then a hit kind of thing. Maybe it's a case of if you say so many things. Then you're bound to be right at some point. But I mean, look, maybe they have heard something. Maybe this is genuine information. We just don't know. I think it is the same guy who said that they have decided to sack Ange on Sunday. So, maybe if this is true, maybe Ange is gone as well. Maybe both things are true. Maybe both things are not true. Maybe one is and one isn't. It's hard to know. But if it is true, I mean, that would also maybe play into what is happening in terms of why it's very quiet. Maybe they're waiting for this new investment and more decision makers to come into the room before deciding on the manager. Maybe that's why we're getting our house in order before we make a decision on the manager or confirm it anyway. Maybe that's why we're not hearing anything, because maybe there is something going on in the boardroom in terms of investment or power struggles or something like that. There's a lot of noise. Obviously, nothing reliable or confirmed. It's just a lot of Chinese whispers at the moment. But the longer the silence continues, the more the rumours are going to grow.
Yeah. look, it's just what we have to say every day. We have to just wait and see what happens, because we can speculate all we want and we can read into these third or fourth tier journalists and reports all we want. But the reality is we're none the wiser every day. And every day is just more indecision, more being in the dark. And it just stinks of incompetency straight from the top of Tottenham Hotspur once again.
And more players are getting snapped up. I know these players potentially we're not going for, or players that out of our price range, or whatever. But you know, more every day, teams above us are signing and improving their squads and getting ready for the new season already. And we're nothing.
Well, we have teenagers lining the streets of the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, sleeping overnight to get the best place in a Beyonce gig last night. That's what we got.
That's what we got. It's just a mess. It's just a complete mess. And
kids are sleeping in the streets of Tottenham. Not a great place to do. Not a great place to sleep.
It's just I don't know what to think at the moment about what direction we're going in or anything, because I understand if there is genuine stuff going on in the boardroom, maybe that does need to be sorted out before we make any decision. But obviously we don't know. There's been no real reliable information about that as well. And all we know is that the only thing we do know for a fact is 11 days after the season has ended, and for all intents and purposes, they haven't decided who the manager is going to be.
And every team is cracking on, apart from Tottenham.
I mean, it's actually nuts. It's nuts when you think about it. How could it take so long? What are they waiting for? What is going on? There's all these rumours, but it's crazy.
This is the worst timing possible. It's literally the worst timing possible for this. This is such an important summer for us. Such an important summer. You know, we're all saying that if we didn't make Champions League football and if we didn't win that Europa League, you know, it's going to set us back so many years, and we won't be able to get targets in and all this kind of stuff. Well, this indecision is setting us back massively.
Yeah,
never mind Champions League football.
What's happening right now is, and I think it also, people are going to look at this and thinking, what is, you know, do I want to go into this circus, this mess? Do I want to join it? Like, I don't know if many players are going to be convinced right now with what they're seeing. A decision has to be made. Decision has to be made at some bloody point.
The only way this is good for us for the long term, if Levy ends up going over this whole thing. If all this indecision happens and we have to take the hit on this season and we can't get, you know, top targets in, and Levy goes, that's a win in my opinion. That is a complete
Well, maybe
win.
There is some serious investment coming.
I really hope so.
And that would be something interesting. Because all of a sudden, maybe some clubs or players might look at that and think, okay, maybe they're going to start to be really serious now.
I'll take another season off if it meant Levy was to go this year.
Another season off?
Yeah.
You mean like 17th?
Yeah.
What about relegation?
No, I mean, if we got serious investment, I'll tell you this now, if we got serious investment, like mega money coming into this club, and it meant Levy was to go and we'd somehow turn into this like powerhouse of a club and, you know, all the money in the world, blah, blah, blah. Yes, I would take it if Levy was to go. 100%.
But United got new owners, hasn't exactly improved them.
Yeah, but I just said if we turn into this powerhouse of a club.
Oh, well, that's... Yeah, I mean, but that's like... we don't know if that will happen. If just because Levy goes.
We don't even know who our manager's going to be next year. What do you mean we don't know if that's going to happen? We don't know anything.
Yeah.
We know absolutely nothing.
Yeah. It's a weird time to be a Tottenham fan right now. It's a very weird time.
Yeah. But look, it is what it is. That's our Tottenham update. Hopefully, at some point during this stream, some more news, some actual news is going to break. And we can talk about that when it comes.
Wouldn't bet on it.
I won't bet on it either. But you never know.
But stay tuned because it could happen at any moment.
You never know. We're going to be live for a little while yet. And